Ursus Arctus Horribilis, apex predator, nature's merciless killing machine, a creature feared by all, ascendancy contested by none. What happens when a grizzly cub is bullied? Well, the cub grows big and strong. When the cub also evolves into a kind, compassionate father and family man, an entertainer unafraid to portray a character bizarre in attire, yet confident in elocution and commanding in execution, baiting a crowd to fever pitch. When the cub grows into a determined campaigner against bullying, then all bullies beware. The grizzly is coming for you.
When you pick a pawpaw or a prickly pear and you prick a raw paw, well, next time, beware. Don't pick the prickly pear by the paw. When you pick a pear, try to use the claw. But you don't need to use the claw when you pick a pear of the big paw. Have I given you a clue? Golly, thanks, Baloo. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Yeah, they'll come to you. And who better to delve into the bare essentials than our guest today? Anders Fægri, I hope I pronounced it right.
Yep, that's good.
A.K.A. Grizzly.
Yep, that's me.
Welcome, sir, to Autodidact University or Outstriders Podcast, as it were. And we got a bunch of interesting things to go through, haven't we, Sebastian? So we're ready, revved up, raring to go. And so just bear with us.
Yeah.
And Grizzly, also known as Ursus Arctus Horribilis.
Yep.
That's your official title, I guess.
Thank you, yeah.
And that is quite... Oh, just a brief rundown. Do you want to give us a brief introduction of some of your exploits first?
Well, I'm a wrestler in Norwegian Wrestling Federation. That's where I got my Grizzly name.
You're right.
A few years later, I began doing sumo wrestling also. So that's when I took the name Sumogrizzly.
Yes.
Like my own company that I run. And also, I'm a father of 3, been married for almost 25 years, worked several jobs in my life, most having to do with people. I love being around people, working with children, and now I'm have my own company and doing public speaking. About bullying and the effects bullying can have on a human being by telling my story about it. And that's pretty much it.
Right. Well, there's quite a lot of stuff that you are involved with, Anders. And so, I was thinking, having your Grizzly persona.
Yeah.
You come across when I talked to you the first time at the Power Slam event last November here in Oslo.
Yeah.
You were like the most bizarre announcer I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you had a commanding voice. You got the crowd whipped up and everything. And at the same time, you were just a really nice person to talk to.
Thank you.
And you had a rapport with the other fans. Well, actually, all the wrestlers did.
Yeah.
They were just really nice, genuine, down-to-earth people. But your Grizzly persona, how or why did it come about? Is there a link to part of your personality there? Or?
Yes, very much so. I grew up, like I said, being bullied and everything. And when I got to high school, things got much better. So I just packed away all the bad stuff from before, and I would never, ever think of it ever again. And a few years later, in 2001, my friend Björn came to me and said, "Hey, there's a wrestling school opening at Lillestrøm. You want to go there and try it out?" So I went, and 7 months later, I had my first wrestling match in the first wrestling show ever in Norway.
Is this Bjørn Best? Bjørn, he's
Bjørn
one of the
Sem.
pioneers of the Norwegian Wrestling Federation as well.
It is.
He's got his own podcast, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
The Bjørn Best
Yes.
podcast. Yeah. So before that, my first match, I had to get like a persona and a wrestling name, and I thought like, well, I've always been a big guy and mostly calm, but if you like step over the line,
Poke the bear.
yeah, it is. So I thought Grizzly is a good, powerful name.
Yeah.
So I took that as my name, and like the Grizzly personality is like all like the good things and all the things I like about Anders, and you just crank it up to 11.
Yeah.
And those are often the most like the best wrestling characters. Also, is like, well, there's some hints of the real person behind.
Yes.
And it's just not all character.
Yeah. A genuine persona
yeah.
has to be based
Yeah.
on essential truths, doesn't it?
And it has been like a great like part of who I became and who I am. It's a shield. It's something that I can put on if I don't feel like going out.
Yeah.
If I have to get to a dentist appointment or have to get to work.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
You just put on Grizzly and you go out.
Yeah.
But my wife always tells me that, hey, I'm married to Anders, I'm not married to Grizzly. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so my wife tells me she's not married to Smeagol.
No.
That's my alter ego. You know, easy to build up, easy to deconstruct, but
Yeah.
it fucking hurts if you step on a piece.
Yep.
So that's understand. Do you have an alter ego and a persona, or is Sebastian good enough for the likes of you?
I got multiple of them.
Oh, you got loads of them, right? But you're still trying to pick sort of which one to evoke your spirit.
Yeah, the essential, like the basics are still there. Like that's your personality.
Yeah.
And then based on environment and what you need, like I was playing football, so football is there are certain values in it, and in all sports you need to be a fighter, you need to communicate, and you need to collaborate with your teammates when you play like team sport. And then, for example, music, it is different. It changes. It's more like ego tripping. It's more emotional. In sport, you put this like never give up and like don't care like what anybody tells me. And in music, it's more responsive. It's like you dwell into your feelings also. So this is how I approach it. This,
but it is the having to train hard at such an elite level as well. I guess there's been some times where you've had to put on your Grizzly persona to be able to get up and train, because I've been doing martial arts all my life and it is a bit of a slog at times, and when you're feeling great, you're great, but there is the embrace the grind, and especially for wrestlers.
In wrestling there's like the elements of, if you don't train, you might just not hurt yourself, but also the other guys also hurt your opponent,
exactly,
because they are dependent on you to protect them, also as beating their ass, but
I've had a few I've broken a few ribs in my time, but accidents, all of them, and I felt bad afterwards.
So that's when I got my third kid. I said that I don't have that much time to train anymore, so I'll give up my wrestling career. And just a couple of years later, someone came and asked me, Like, hey, there's Norwegian championships in sumo this weekend. Would you like to try out?
Yeah,
sure. I can just go and try it out and see how it is, and I can say that I've been in the Norwegian championships of sumo.
Yeah.
But I came home that weekend after just 1 hour of training sumo before the competition, and I had 2 bronze medals.
Damn,
so I thought,
that's
wow,
not bad.
This was fun.
Yeah.
And a few months later, I was in my first European Championships, and got to represent Norway.
Right.
Like I said, if just start with a small enough competition, or and you can make the national team. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about living in a smallish country that has, of course, I mean, if I was going to go in for any winter sport, even the curling, whatever, I'd be bottom of the list. I would never make it. But doing some of these more fringe sports for Norwegians, then you can get into quite a sort of and especially going on to European standards and everything then I expect the competition gets even harsher, even bigger.
Yeah.
And so with your Grizzly persona and that, helping you in everyday life, and also it seems to me it's almost like it's I'm thinking of the unders that not to go on about it and that, but the unders that was a victim of pretty bad bullying and that. Yeah. It's like embracing that vulnerability as well. Yeah. But just building itself up so that it doesn't affect you. Never let them see you cry kind of thing, but because there is the masculine element of it, but I'm not saying it's just a man or woman thing, but I'm sure there's Mrs. Grizzlies aplenty and a need for them as well. Yeah. But when you talk to children and that, Anders, can you sort of in a classroom, can you spot someone who's perhaps in need of to build up and find their own persona to help them through the hard times?
Sometimes I can. Yeah. You see it when you come into the classroom and you see the students sitting there. Yeah. You can also tell maybe some of the cliques, especially if there's free seating. Right. Yeah. Right. And you can also see like in the back. Yeah. There are these mostly boys. Yeah. Like, this is not for me. This is like touchy-feely stuff, and I'm too cool for that. On one side. On the other side, it's the quiet kids. Yeah. Yeah. That never assert themselves or
the shy and retiring types.
And you see, and I see them, and I see that some of the things when I tell them about what I gone through. Yeah. And what people did to me. Yeah. And things they said and things they did. You can see it affects them. Yeah. I had actually the first speaking job I had. I had just written like my first lecture, and I was going to try it out on someone. So I called a friend of mine who's a nurse at a school and said, "Hey, could I come there and maybe speak to some of your students?" So I was there at the 5th grade, and I had practiced so much. And I got there, and there was this boy in the back by himself. And when I finished, I said, "So, do any of you have any questions?" Yeah. And he raised his hand and he said, like, "Well, he just wanted to thank me for coming, and no one had talked to them about this in such a way ever before." And I saw he began to cry. Yeah. And I was on my way there. But then 4 of the other students came back and sat with him and sat around him as he'd finished talking. And it was like,
Yeah.
If I don't ever have a speaking job ever again, I made a difference in that boy's life.
Yeah.
And that's...
And perhaps the awareness of the other children as well.
It was just what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Like taking care of each other. If you are strong, you have a choice. You can either take advantage of others or you can help them.
Yeah.
I think it's your responsibility. You can say, hey, I'm an alpha male. Yeah. Alphas, they take care of the herd.
They do.
They don't dominate.
Yeah, there's positive and negative sides of all of these things. I'm a Sigma, so what can I say? Don't get involved. No, but the positive side of taking care of other people, and there's also, the masculinity, again, not talking about men and women as such, but the values behind it, that is taking care of other people.
Yeah.
And Norway has kind of a vibe about that. Well, they can afford to, but at the same time, there is something running through that in Norwegian society that is very important. And we got a lot of problems here, of course, and no one's perfect.
No.
And I sort of got that vibe that it was very inclusive with the NWF, with the wrestling thing. That was part of it.
Yeah.
And the way that you're all working together and stuff. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself now. I wanted to ask you that, have you ever had the opportunity to meet afterwards or talk with one of the people that bullied you? And you know, don't have to mention names.
No.
Yeah. Eddie.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it was like maybe 15 years. Later. There was a reunion.
Class reunion.
Yeah, class reunion. And I was really not sure if I wanted to go. But I thought that, well, there are a few people I'd like to meet, like that I really cared about, and I was wondering how they were doing.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd go there. And the moment I came through the door, there was this guy who had bullied me. He was one of the worst. And he came right up to me, and I said, Anders, I'm so glad you're here. I don't know if this means anything to you, but I have thought a lot about you lately. And I just want to say that I'm really, really sorry. I behaved in such a bad manner, and it was totally unacceptable. And I'm so sorry. And I really appreciated that. I couldn't forgive him.
No.
For what he did.
Right.
But I it really nonetheless meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
That he had thought about it, and it was kind of a validation also, because when I have like for all these years thought about what happened, and I make up this, just not the pictures in my mind, because you can like not make up things, but make things worse in your own head.
You do. Well, they rent. What's it?
The emotional
rent-free
attachment to it, right?
Yeah. The rent-free space in your own head, and the violent fantasies. Talking about myself, but
So him saying that really meant a lot, because then it got more real.
Yeah.
And it took so long. I was in my 40s before I could say that this was not my fault.
Right.
I always put some of the blame on me. It was so easy to bully me because I let myself get overweight, because I liked music that no one else liked, because I had interests that no one else had. So the bullying was partly my fault. And a few years later, but I was 42, 43, because I said, well, this isn't my fault.
No.
And so much weight got lifted off my shoulders.
God, that's an added dimension that I don't know if I've been fully aware of. I've experienced a bit of bullying, you know, mostly because I was so self-conscious and couldn't speak Norwegian when I first moved. Probably half of it wasn't real bullying, but you know, I've worked with children who have been bullied really badly, and the kid I'm thinking about. He shares your name, by the way, Anders. His mum was really working hard to help him out. The school was not. They weren't so helpful. I know things have got a lot better, and I know it's difficult to spot these things. I mean, growing up in England, there was a hell of a lot of bullying going on. I mean, there was fights every break and everything, and they weren't always. It wasn't like a couple of kangaroos boxing in the ring. There was no weight classes, that's for sure. It wasn't really fair. There was the added aspect that there was a lot of bullying, and but that added dimension for the victim or the person that's being that's going through this. Because victim is also a loaded word, isn't it? It implies, unfortunately, some guilt upon the person who's taking it. But that is an added amount of baggage on this.
It is. And as a kid, that was my reality.
Yeah.
I didn't know. No one told me that it was wrong.
Yeah.
When I tried to talk to the
grown-ups
at the school, they said, well, you don't have to take it so seriously. They're just teasing you. Yeah. You know, kids can be mean. It's like, but so I said, well, if it's not that important, I trusted these adults.
Yeah.
So I couldn't like. So I said, well, okay, then maybe this is how it is growing up. That was my reality, and I didn't know it was wrong.
No,
before many years later.
Yeah,
and I think that's why it's good to have like the mother that you talked about.
Yeah, she was good.
Yeah. That told them that this isn't supposed to be like this.
Yes,
it's not your fault.
Yeah,
and that's so important.
Yeah,
and that's like one of my main messages I try to get out. That if you're strong, you have that responsibility. If you're a friend, be there for them. You don't have to resolve anything, or just be there and listen and take it seriously.
Yeah.
If a child comes to you as a friend, or if you're a teacher, or a neighbor, or a parent, or when kids come to you, they have been thinking about it for a long time.
They have, haven't they? Yeah.
So take it seriously. Take the time. If you don't have time right then, schedule it.
Yeah.
So like, sorry, I have to go to work. I can't get out of it, but we can talk this afternoon.
Yeah.
But please take it seriously, because they have worked up the courage to tell you, and they confide in you. So don't brush it off.
No. I mean,
Would you say this is a blind spot of Norwegian society, or maybe Scandinavian society, when it comes to parenting? Just to put it into a little bit context from my perspective, I'm from Central/East Europe, Slovakia, and it's a different society, a little bit different values, and very generally, like this society is very soft, very protective. And I've been raised up in much more harsh environment, and I think in many ways we are more. It's harsher, but we are more prepared to deal with bullying, because we fight and we group into like children, but gangs, or you find your allies, and then you go like, hey guys, I need help.
Yeah.
And so back to my question, like, is this a blind spot when it comes to values of Norwegian society?
I haven't really thought about it that way. I think that we have gone maybe a bit too far, or not too far, but if you have a bullying situation, now you have to like take care of the kid getting bullied, but you also take care of the one who's doing the bullying. I think that first you have to take care of the kid that's being bullied.
Yeah.
Like, because that's like an emergency situation.
Yeah.
You don't try to like in a traffic accident. You don't start like cleaning up all the oil spills and everything before you just take care of the victims first.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the most important thing, that you take care of them first. Then after that, when things have calmed down, or then you can also take care of also like the kids doing the bullying. And that's a real also a big difference making thing in the last few years, that you called kids bullies and the bullied. But now you make a distinction and call them kids being bullied and kids doing the bullying.
Yeah.
And that's a real, cause one thing you are, and one thing is what you do.
Exactly.
And it's much easier to change what you do than to change what you are.
Yeah. So being victimized, that's what I was thinking about. You know, labeling someone a victim implies a helplessness to them.
Yeah.
But another thing about the bullying thing, there is the group dynamic. It's not a one-on-one thing. It's not one gang against another.
No.
You know, even in England, which I'm sure was as rough as anything in the shadow of the Carpathians. But there is, it's loners, you know, people who are looked as a bit different.
Yeah.
Who aren't natural join the herders. You know? And some people, you know, they enjoy their own company, and they got their own interests. You know, there's many reasons. It could be a phase of one's life, you know. And believe it or not, I was dead shy, you know, especially during puberty. It was a difficult time when we moved to Norway, overly self-conscious and that. And so it took a while for me to break out of my own shell. And that was kind of becoming the jester in the class, and I know I pissed off a lot of teachers. So, and a lot of people since then, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But being the... I've also seen that with some children, like the most annoying ones. There's normally a story behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that they're compensating for something else. And
something else at home.
It could be at home.
It's
complex, isn't it?
It is complex, definitely. But most of it, what I observed, is it comes from home. Even like everything is fine on the from outside perspective, but if you only one thing, if you just don't give your children attention, if you just never talk to them, never listen to them, you just send them like, go do your homework, go do that, go with somebody else. But the child, he needs the time with you as a parent, or he needs to bond with somebody. And if you never let him bond, then he will do whatever necessary to get that attention. So if it means to be the worst guy in the school, he will do everything possible so he gets your attention. So if you give him attention in the first place, then he would be satisfied in his soul, and he would be like, okay, like the feeling of being accepted. Like I'm accepted. Okay, now I can accept others. So maybe this is a perspective of the one who is doing the bullying. Like he's got some scars on his soul too.
Oh yeah.
And he's probably a victim in different situations, even though they doesn't need to be so obvious.
And I was a bully too. Or I bullied people. But
not just in the wrestling ring, but
just
where it's allowed.
But in the 9th grade, I was like, I can't handle this anymore.
Yeah.
I have to get the attention off me.
Yeah.
I have to get the bullies to go on to someone else because I can't take it anymore.
Yeah.
So it was like a self-defense mechanism.
The abused aligning with the abuser. Israel.
It feels so horrible afterwards, but I just had to do it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
Did you do it at least to one of these bullies?
No, because
that would be great revenge.
Yeah. But because it would be, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't wish that on even my worst enemy.
No.
Yeah, gotcha.
But and I also didn't like have the pull in my class to do it to them. I had to do it. I was on my level.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
well,
I
that
said,
is so typical.
You think I'm weird? Look at that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they went for him for a few minutes, and I got a break from it.
Yeah.
And it feels so bad afterwards.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like,
But that adds to the sense of guilt and the sense that it's your own fault. That it's more difficult for a child as well to differentiate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you read the classic Lord of the Flies. And that is William Golding. That's a classic piece of literature that a bunch of boys end up on a desert island with no adult supervision, and they go native pretty damn fast. And the ending is with especially the one guy with the glasses and that. I'm not even going to say his name because that was really horrible. But the way that ended up, it just got scarier and scarier and scarier.
Yeah.
So like you're saying, without the adult caring and the time
and someone to give them direction.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
children are also. I worked in the kindergarten for many years.
Yeah.
And some of the parents came to me and said, like, "Oh, my kid is acting up so much at home. What should I do?" And I said, "Well, that's because he feels safe.
Yeah.
With you, so he can push the boundaries with you, and he's relying on you to tell him when there's a line and you just crossed it.
Yeah.
And then he knows that, I'm saying he, but he or she.
Yes, of course.
Then the kid knows that, okay, there's a line, and I crossed it, and I won't go there again.
Yeah.
So they test it. They test it with the ones that they love and the ones that they trust.
Of course, yeah.
So when your kid is acting up, it's a sign of trust.
Yeah.
And this is something I observed that I think I can say even generally people, but let's go for parents. Like if their perspective or attitude was like, an understanding, I'm helping this little creature to conceptualize the world around him.
Yeah.
So it's just natural if just parents / people would understand that you are developing and see this perspective, they would be much better prepared to deal with it.
Yep.
But what I observe is like even like adults, they don't have this parenting attitude towards the children, and they just want to kind of be left alone in a sense, or
be friends,
or
more
be
like a friend.
They don't go too much into this conversation or explanation to kids. They use the raw power, like, this is how it is, I'm authority, you have to listen to me, and this is how it's gonna be. You know what? You understand me what I'm saying?
Yeah.
to give myself a little bit of credit, I've been a coach, football coach for children, and I've been coaching 7 and 8 year olds. So there was a lot of this involved.
Yeah, and nowadays it's almost like people expect, or some people, generalizing, expect schools to have such a large role, not just in the education, but in almost in the parenting, because children spend such, in Norway at least, spend such a lot of time in at school and other extracurricular activities. So the time they spend at home is on social media devices, I guess, and so with the advent of social media, that adds another dimension for the possibilities to be bullied, and to be a bully, or to bully.
You don't get the time off.
No. There's no.
In the 80s, when I got home from school,
right,
the bullies weren't there.
No,
but now they are.
Yeah. And the verbalization that's inherent within bullying as well, that's magnified by social media dynamics, and so you get. It's wrong to say that it's because there's different ways people bully other people. Girls have a much more subtle approach, they're far more subtle than anything some deviant masculine mind could think of. But there's another form. It's the ostracizing of a person. I think that's perhaps a lot where bullying starts. It's the difference of another person, and you get these girl groups that they're good on social media as well. So I would be an absolute victim if I was in some school nowadays and that with my social media skills.
But a good thing about social media and the internet now is that that one kid that has this special interest. Like I was into like role playing. And role playing games, and it weren't a lot of kids in my school doing role playing games.
Right.
But now you can find communities online.
That's a
or
good thing.
If you are a trans kid, you can find trans communities online. That are safe. That are inclusive. So there's not just negatives there.
No.
But you have group chats in like Snapchat groups with like almost every student in the class except for 2. And it's like one
of the worst stories I got from a parent, because we start up at one of these Rudolf Steiner schools and that, and we there wasn't so much anthroposophy minded parents as there were parents who'd experienced their children having trouble at the regular schools that came to us. So it was a bit more than we bargained for, and a huge responsibility as well. And one of the most hurtful things I heard was that there's the one kid who isn't invited to the birthday party, but no one coming to the birthday party of this one young girl. And but that did it. The parents, that was it. Then they they really took a stand on that. But so the ostracizing of people in general. So it's so hard to be strong when you feel alone, when you feel that you've tried to talk to adults, for example, and you might be unlucky. The communication skills might not be fully developed. There's many things, and so your talks, they have to function on so many levels, don't they?
So I always start with a story about me. I sit down and I use a chair. You don't often do that, but sit down in a chair on stage. And it's about tell them about a kid in a hallway, and he's hanging by his belt straps in his pants on the hooks on the wall, and his feet just touches the ground, so the belt straps doesn't rip off.
Yeah.
But not so much that he can jump off, so he hangs there. And the recess is over, and everybody comes in and walks right past. And then
no one that helps.
No one helps.
No.
Before at last the teachers come out and then they get me down, and I can go to class.
Yeah.
And it was just like brushed off, like, oh.
This child wasn't even asked
No.
who the hell did this to you.
This is much better now.
Yes,
I would say
it has got a lot better.
The schools are doing tremendous jobs.
Yeah,
they are. But there's quite a bit a way to go still.
Yeah. Well, there's also the cultural complexities these days. You know, it's not society isn't as homogenous as it was. So it's building trust at a human level on so many levels. I mean, just the idea of ignoring someone in need. That's one of the nightmare scenarios, isn't it? You've got this classic, I don't know if it's an urban legend or not, well, someone was being raped in a back alley and all the neighbours, and no one's ignoring it, and that's supposed to have happened in some New York ghetto or something. But there are similar things that I'm sure do occur in various groups of people. Yeah. And so the message, I guess, is to be aware and care. Yeah,
it is. I end every lecture I have.
Yeah,
I have a slogan that I use.
Yeah,
and it's just go out and be excellent to each other.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
if we do that.
Yeah. It's better than mine. I've got a sort of homonym, scaring is caring.
Yeah.
But that's where the Grizzly persona would come in, and that I've got like a bastard persona and that. So
what I try to do in my lectures is like I tell my story, what I experienced, and that's just one part of it, because I think it's important to tell the people that these things do happen, and it's not always shared by the ones who are let's say victims. They keep it to themselves, and the main part of what I talk about is how it affects me now 40 years later, because I want to give them that kind of perspective. It's just not here and now. It's just not the crying that they do now, or that you bully them now. It just not just affects them now, but it can affect them like 40 years later. Because if you are being told that you're worth nothing, that you're not good enough, you get told that every day of every week of every month of every year for like 4 or 5 years, that does something to your brain.
But
because you don't need the bullies then.
No,
because I knew when I was finished in 9th grade, I knew that I wasn't worth anything. I knew deep down in my soul that I wasn't good enough. So I struggled with that all my life, and I had I had no sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
So I also have been the one who's always been there for others, because I had like to prove to myself that I had a place in this world, because it was never enough just being Anders.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had a friend who posted on Facebook a few years ago that, my car broke down and I have so much to do. I had to get my dog to the vet and get this and that. And can someone please help me to drive me to these things? And I said, yeah, sure. I'll do it. I'll do it. Of course. Anders will be there. I just had to figure out how to get to Bergen first. So I was willing to go from Oslo to Bergen.
So that's a hell of a long way, just so for all you foreigners out there.
8 hours of driving.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah. And that was kind of an awakening for me.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? She has friends in Bergen.
Yeah.
That can do it for her.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that.
Yeah. It's not the Victim Olympics.
No. So and it's affected me, like, because when I got out of the bullying situation, I started high school. I went and studied music there. And I came in a class where we had the same interest. People liked me for who I am. It took over 2 years before I could show them who I was, because I didn't trust, because I had experienced that people got close to me so they could hurt me more.
Yeah.
So I didn't let anyone in.
Yeah.
It took like 2 years. And when I recognized that, well, these people actually like me for who I am.
Yeah.
I took like all those years I got bullied, just put them in a little box, put them in the back of my head. I locked the door, threw away the key, and I was never going to look at it ever again. That was a finished chapter of my life. The brain doesn't work that way.
Oh, unfortunately not. That's cerebellum. Things bounce around, don't they?
So I've struggled with like anxiety and depression, and I didn't understand why. And I like was in a place where I got my wife, and I got my kids, and I got the wrestling, and I got the sumo. And my life, if you looked at it objectively, I should be fine. I should have it like...
This is what you're part of your wrestling career.
But this is like the amount of joy that I should be feeling.
Yeah.
But I feel this much joy.
Yeah.
And it's like, because... all that baggage I carried around me cast this really big shadow over my life, and I refused to look at it.
Yeah.
And in 2019, my doctor told me, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "You don't have a choice anymore. I decide now that I'm going to put you on sick leave 100%, and we have to do something about your depression, or I'm not sure you'll survive."
Right.
And have a doctor like that is fantastic.
Heavy,
And it all came back like that, and like that box opened, and spilled all over my life, and I went in pretty deep into a depression. I was sleeping like 15 hours a day. I didn't leave the house, and I put like all my value and my self-worth in what I could be for others. And now I couldn't be anything for anyone.
No.
So I like, where do I find my self-worth now?
Yeah.
And I had to, now the last few years, trying to build that back up.
Because that's not so long ago, you know. I mean, yeah, I mean, I've got another awful homophone. Depressed is what you need, because you have to be able to get deal with these issues, and then you do need a closed off period of time, don't you? A space in which to do it. So that was necessary.
Yeah, it was, and I started sharing my thoughts about it, and some of my stories, and I did a post on Facebook to my friends, where I was out in the forest, sitting by a bonfire there, and reading from like my old. We had like a book in Norway, a skoledagbok.
Oh your school journal.
School journal, where you wrote down all your homework and everything, and you could write like little things to each other in that book. And I found that in my mom's attic.
Right.
And I just started flipping through them.
Yeah.
And I said some of the worst things like was still in there.
Yeah.
And I was sitting by this bonfire, reading some of it, and just ripping them out and putting on the bonfire.
Yeah.
And my friends got overwhelming response from my friends. And
so that was therapeutic, but it also symbolized the symbology there.
And they also said that, well, more people need to hear this story.
Yeah.
So I started my when COVID ended. I started thinking, well, I don't think I can go back to a 9-to-5 job because I don't know when I will need some time alone or need some downtime.
Yeah.
And I thought if I could do public speaking about this, I could do something useful that people can relate to and maybe help some people. But I can also be at work for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I can use the rest of the day to collect myself up.
Yeah.
So I try that and trying to build a career on that now.
Yeah. I know you've been. I did check your social media stuff and I see you've recently been into NRK to pitch them an idea for a program and that.
Yeah.
Have you got any feedback yet?
Not yet.
No, neither have I, you bastards. I had a great idea for a weird show.
Yeah. It was just a week ago. So
exactly. Yeah. They got to take it through committee and show it to the lodge.
I got a real good response for the one I pitched it for. So. Yeah. Really hopeful for that.
Okay,
that would
that's
be
cool.
So much great, and that's about with bullying and sumo, of course.
Oh, what a combination! You know,
because that helped me a lot with the sumo because we call ourselves the goodest team in the world.
Okay,
because we are really good in the ring fighting, but we're even better outside.
Right,
with the camaraderie and so being on trip with those guys. That's balm for the soul.
Yeah, I remember some of the trips we had with the Krav Maga gang, and I don't know if we passed the statute of limitations when we didn't do. Not everything was as, but it was a great bonding experience. Although we did. If you could bully something material, we did sort of destroy the same camping area 3 times, and we had to change our names. Like the one here we was a Norwegian bridge card playing thing, and then we were some kennel club. And then the poor owners are like, oh no, it's these idiots. Again. Oh, they were building these new cabins, and we took down some of their materials in our enthusiasm and built a really big fire. And of course, they called the cops. So the cops came, and then it was like, hey, hello, what's going on here then, you bunch of ragamuffins and that? And then it's like, hey, Torda Yoni, you haven't been to training for a couple of weeks. Where have you been? One of our guys, they trained the cops. So we were like, this first time I felt invulnerable, to tell you the truth. But it was a good bonding experience as well. And we did apologise effusively and tried to put things back. But that wasn't good. And now that I think about it, it's sort of the teasing thing as well. If it's done, I mean, everyone teases each other a bit, don't they?
They do.
And so, oh, sorry, Carol. I mean that. But everyone's done that. So everyone has been guilty, and we don't know how it affects other people, do we?
No.
So
Maybe there is a question also, the level of teasing. Because the difference is, I think the intention is the difference. If your intention is malevolent, you want to hurt the person, you don't care about the person, that's wrong. But if it's like friendly teasing, like, in the football club, all my teammates, we just, it's friendly teasing, and you just try to push the energy in the room, and it's all fun. And you definitely have it in sumo with sumo guys, with guys. So, and that's just perfect. That's great, right? And the intention behind this is I like you, and that's why I tell shit to you.
That is a kind of how boys a lot of the time, and girls as well. There's some joking around.
Yeah, there is, but there's also that can go or like glide over into when it's not okay with both parties. So if you check, if you are in an environment where there's a lot of teasing, you can check in. You can, if someone gets teased a lot, you can check in with them and say, hey, are you okay with him calling you that? And he said, or no, I'm not feeling, well, let's tell him. And most people, when they I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way, and I will try to refrain from it from now. That's not bullying. No, that's teasing, but hey, you can tell me what to do. I'll call him anything I like. Then you're up into bullying.
Because one of the things that people talk about bullying, they can easily, or anyone can be called, the snowflake thing, and so, you're just da 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 da, sort of typical right wing kind of thing, and. And we all know who the biggest bully in the world is right now, not mentioning names. So when bullying comes from the top,
it legitimizes it now. He said that it's okay for you to call people names.
And to pick on people who might be vulnerable in certain areas and that. So it's there's a lot to fight for, isn't there? So there's a lot to be a grizzly for.
It is.
So we can't afford to hibernate anymore.
No.
So 180 kilos the average grizzly puts on, some more bare facts here, before they hibernate. But it's time to take out the butt plug and wake up and care about our environments. And if people care about their local environments, it will spread to bigger things as well. So
it will.
That was actually my segue to go over to talk about sumo and stuff and that. But there's a lot to digest there as well on us. And so anyway, sumo. Like grizzlies, the Arctus Horribilis, they have to put on a lot of weight in that. So the training regimen in traditional Nippon, the first sumo fight was about 720 AD between some demon, Takagaga Maguchi or something.
It was.
And he was the god or a demon or god of thunder. So the Thor vibe, very masculine. It's always been viewed as a hyper-masculine martial art. And so how on earth they have stables, don't they?
In Japan they have stables that they live in. And they live their whole life there. They wake up, they train, they eat, and they do have chores that they have to do around the stable.
It's a monastery type vibe almost.
It is. It is very. It's a really strict hierarchy also. So if you're on top, you wake up, you train, and you get fed. And they do your laundry. And they do. So when you start there, you're on the lowest, and you have to do all these chores.
And they start really young, or they have done traditionally, right? As just kids.
Just kids coming from, and they come from Japan. There's also a lot of Mongolians.
Right.
There.
Mongolian wrestling is massive.
It is. And they live there, and they eat a lot. And they have like I don't know if you can call it science, but this is a 2,000-year-old sport. So they have so they have it
Magic.
like down, like you sleep this much and you train for 4 hours, and then you eat a lot, and then you go right to sleep. So the fat is there in all the right places.
And it can accumulate.
And they can accumulate over years. So now the heaviest are around a bit over 200 kilos.
They got heavier though on average.
In the 90s, they got really heavy. So some of the biggest was like 360 kilos. But they said that this is not healthy. It's not healthy as it is now, but then it was like no. And if we are to be taken seriously as a sport, you can't look like just this mountain of fat.
No.
That when you hear sumo wrestler, that's what you see in your head.
That has been the impression, isn't it? But there's a hell of a lot of muscle underneath
there's
that.
so much.
Damn.
Yeah. And if you watch like sumo fights from Japan and you watch them in slow motion, and if you especially look at the thighs,
they're huge.
Yeah.
The impact as well. I mean, I was almost killed by a rhinoceros in Nepal, came this close.
Yeah.
But that's what I'll be like in the sumo fight. You know, some skinny bars, they wouldn't even know. No. They flattened me. They'd be sprinkling my salt as they do in the ring. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they measured the G-forces.
Yeah. Oh.
And attach them to the backs of these sumo wrestlers.
Yeah.
And when they hit, it was more powerful than a punch from a heavyweight boxer.
Yeah.
It's like boom, and you can sometimes they knock heads.
Yeah.
Also, and you hear this in these big stadiums with tens of thousands of spectators.
Yeah.
And you hear the. And it's
So it's a rough sport as well, and traditionally sumo wrestlers, I think they've still got about a 15 to 20 year lower lifespan than the average.
Yeah.
But they are super sex symbols. They get all the girls.
Yep.
And so it's kind of a
like that in Norway too.
Yeah, just the same. Yeah. Consensual.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But some of them have a problem because you eat so much in these stables.
Yeah.
You eat like 20 to 25,000 calories a day. But you train for 6 to 7 hours a day also.
Yeah.
But when you retire, it's easy to stop training. It's not that easy to stop eating.
No, the diabetes thing, and
so a lot of them
head injuries. It's like professional boxers. I heard,
and that's also something that we work really hard in Norway for now, to get the International Sumo Federation to ban strikes to the head.
Yeah.
Because now it's legal if you don't. Get your punch from outside the shoulder.
Oh,
so you can
because
punch.
they got this shoving.
Yeah, and that's okay if you do it in the chest.
Yeah, Kyokushinkai.
And in Japan, it's like we told them about this. We have big problems in Europe with people just hitting you in the face.
Yeah. And they don't do it there?
No. Not that much.
Okay.
Sometimes, but that's an honor thing.
Much better culture within
and they
the
said,
sport.
well, there is no problem. Well, it's not legal. Well, it doesn't say so in the rules.
Right.
No, but it's not legal.
Yeah.
Because for them, it's a cultural thing.
Yes. Yeah.
But some nations in Europe, I won't name names.
Oh, go on. Bulgaria.
A bit east of us.
Okay.
Not Sweden.
No. Okay. Say no more.
But they used. I saw a world champion. It was from was an American guy.
Yeah.
He came into the match, put his hand behind the other guy's head, out of the ring. And we said, you can't do that. Well, it doesn't say so in the rules.
Just because it doesn't say so, then you can,
do anything to win.
Yeah.
It's like,
But there are, isn't there about 82 different techniques that are traditional?
Yeah.
And so, and sumo actually means to strike, I believe, in Japanese.
It does.
And so, it can easily be misconstrued by some steroid testosterone raging yank. Typical,
Yeah. And then you also get, because sumo you can do a lot longer than many other sports.
Oh, right,
Because you don't have to actually have like the really good stamina
Yeah,
because the matches last just a few seconds.
Yeah.
The longest I've done was a bit over a minute. And that was a final in Norwegian Championships.
Yeah.
So I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
But because you work, it's so intense. And that's one thing that I really like about the sumo is that you train for months.
Yeah.
For those few seconds in the ring.
That's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, because there's no points. No. There's no if you fall behind.
Win or lose.
It's win or lose for those seconds.
Yeah.
And I could go like for a long weekend for European Championships.
Yeah.
And maybe get 10 seconds in the ring.
Blimey.
Combined.
Yeah, that's for more than one match.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like all the build-up, isn't it? It's just, it reaches a crescendo.
So we try also to like get that focus, and that's really also helped me to have this Grizzly.
Yeah.
Persona.
Grizzly persona.
Yeah. That when I go to the ring, I can pull them out and I just that's me.
Yeah.
And I like. Because we have something, you always start with a bow and you end the bout with a bow.
Yeah.
Always. Lots of respect for your for the competition.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to have these elaborate celebrations.
No. You
After
have to
the
show
win,
or you
respect.
can't get really mad if you lose.
Yeah.
So if you win, it can be like, yes.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
We had a guy that got disqualified from World Games last year because he took a backflip.
A sumo wrestler took a backflip.
Yeah, but that was from one of the lower, my 85 kilos, I think. But he won the final, took a backflip in the ring, and he got disqualified.
Damn. Yeah, so the respect.
So the respect is there, and you have some hand movements that we have to do.
Yeah.
Traditionally, it's for showing that you don't bring any weapons to the ring.
Okay. Yeah.
And then
it's not in the rules.
No. And then you come into the middle, you sit down, and you stare at your opponent.
Yeah.
And that's when the match starts.
Yes. The psychology
Yeah.
behind it, the mental.
Yeah. And then the referee gives you the all clear to stand up. And you stand up, and then you can do your pre-match routine
where they're going through the certain moves. They're like Thai boxing because they've got a very elaborate ritual set up around it. Yeah,
so that's very individual what people do. Some just and some just really focuses before the match starts.
Yeah,
I always just put out the Grizzly.
Yeah.
In Norway, in Europe, I couldn't do that.
Right.
I just had to do it, but I couldn't shout.
Right. Yeah.
But and then you start the match.
Yeah. And then it's just over.
And it's over in seconds.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even touch.
No.
Oh, that's most
don't even
humiliating.
touch. When you miss, if you miss
loss.
each other.
I had a Norwegian Championship. I met a guy, Kim Erik Svensson.
Yeah.
And I was so going to beat him. And the match starts, and I go straight for him. He goes take one step to the side, and I just go straight past him. Yeah. And I was like, that's so humiliating.
That's the only chance I'd have, dive between their legs and hope they trip up. But, mate, But when these things happen, you know, it's... I mean, just even in MMA, you know, when you see a knockout straight away, or when I was in the Norwegian Championships, a sand show, and got disqualified in the first round. The Krav Maga, it's not always as conducive to, semi-contact. What is that?
Yeah.
So, but when it's over, the regret, all the recriminations and everything, but then you go back and you train even harder, I guess. But it is probably the apotheosis of a kind of sport that's over so quickly with so much physical training behind it. So it's an outstrider sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's outstrider. But you can't outstride the ring, or else you lose.
Yeah.
How big is the ring?
About 4.5 meters.
Okay, circle.
Yeah, circle.
Okay, four.
Yeah. The biggest guys make it look really tiny.
And it's also a really good, because you can get decent good in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And there's not many rules to learn. You win by pushing your opponent out of the ring, or they touch the ring with anything else but the soles of your feet.
Yeah.
Let's again.
You can only touch after the match starts. You start with both hands down on in the ring.
Yeah.
And after the match starts, you can only touch the ring with the soles of your feet.
Okay.
If you
palm down, you're out.
Yeah, palm down, you're out. It was the easiest match I ever won.
Yeah.
Had one guy jumping to the side. He was an MMA guy.
So
he put his hand down. Just put his hand down. And, hey, I win.
Try your BJJ now, mate.
Yeah. And we also had, because we are in the same. We are under the sumo is under the Norwegian wrestling Greco-Roman freestyle wrestling federation.
Yeah.
And they had some of those guys coming to try sumo, and they do some of their moves.
Yeah.
And while he grabs your arm, throws you over his shoulder, but he puts his knee down.
And then
while doing it,
exactly.
and then he touches first.
Yeah. But there are some moves in sumo that do have the judo style stuff, and that with the hip toss and stuff.
You can also like grip the belt or the loincloth.
I've seen that. Yeah,
the mawashi.
Yeah. The mawashi,
or the diaper.
Serves us both.
And that was also something that I had to overcome.
Yeah,
because when I started, you had when you were out competing in Europe, you couldn't have anything under it.
Right, you were a groin guard.
So it's just like this 5, 6, 7 meter long.
Yeah.
Cloth, and you just put it between your legs, cover the naughty parts, and a couple of times around your waist, and a knot in the back.
Yeah, it's like King Kong giving you a wedgie, from hell. Oh my!
And coming into an arena and feeling like air on my buttocks, it was like, this is weird. And then the match starts, and you don't think about it. Now I don't think about it at all.
I would feel a bit self-conscious. I mean, my buttocks are so hairy, it looks like I'm wearing pantaloons. So it's But
now we're also in Europe. We have said that you can wear like a biker shorts.
You can
black bike shorts under because now we have much more people who wants to try it.
Yeah.
But they maybe wouldn't if they had to wear it traditionally.
Yeah.
And you also have people from other countries with other religions. There can be also religious reasons for it. Yeah. So we said that, well, in amateur sumo, you can do that.
And crazy idea, I know, but women, female sumos, samosas.
Yeah, I would insist. I would insist on only wearing this 9 meters cloth.
Sorry, my dear, it's a tradition.
No, they use like wrestling gear.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's like Norwegian ladies doing sumo
ladies
now,
in Norway are like really badass. They're so good. We had last championships. We had, I think, 2 silver medals.
Oh, well
and the one
done.
before that, we have 1 silver medal.
Yeah,
and we have no European champion. Yeah, and she's like in the under 50 kilos.
All right.
So she's like this tiny rocket.
Yes,
pocket rocket.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so good.
Shout out to Ramona.
She's from Vardø, so most northern part of Norway.
Yeah. So she's used to wrestling polar bears then, or Ursus Maritinus.
So and we have small sumo clubs popping up all over Norway now. So it's
cool.
So cool.
Yeah, and because now you have different weight classes as well, so more people can get involved.
Yeah, they can.
And so except for the Yakuza. They're not allowed to get involved anymore because there has been a dark side to sumo as well.
There has been some gambling problems.
Some match
fixing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and also there's also
some
been
finger chopping.
Yeah, talking about bullying also.
Yeah,
there's been a few cases in the last years about training methods and bullying in the stables.
Yeah,
in the professional league.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, once the ketamine wears off, the stallion kicks the stable boy to death. There are some collateral damages, but in any hierarchy that doesn't have kind of an overwatch committee or some kind of group that's checking them out, then you can easily get those things. Especially if the Yakuza get involved, they destroyed Pride.
Yeah.
Didn't they? The biggest MMA thing in the world at the time before the UFC took off.
Because there are, in the top divisions in Japan, there are a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
You may be seen like after the matches, they get this stack of envelopes as a prize. The winner, the winner gets a stack of envelopes, and that's from sponsors. So before the match, you don't see it on YouTube because they just show the match. But if you get to watch like a whole match,
I've seen a few
while the sumo wrestlers are up there doing the preparation and throwing salts and everything, you get these banners that goes around the ring. And each banner costs, I think, about $300. And that every envelope is like those $300.
Yeah.
So at the end of the match, the winner gets like money from all of the sponsors.
Right.
Some of it goes to like the sumo organizers.
Yeah.
And something go to the stable and some to the wrestler themselves.
Yeah, because the wrestlers don't. I was looking on the latest sort of Wikipedia, and the wrestlers themselves aren't paid huge sums. Even in the top division,
in the top division, you get
the prize money.
Yeah.
So they need the prize money and the sponsorship and that, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, but and also what I read, it has been cleaned up a lot.
It has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a safe bet these days. Even going to and they allow, women are still holding back in Japan.
Yes,
there's even female nurses and doctors that were helping this judge, this referee had got a heart attack and that. They were told to sort of leave and stuff, but then the guy apologised afterwards. So slowly we're getting a little bit away from the geisha vibe around.
And in the universities, you have female wrestling, sumo wrestling also, and they do really well in the world championships also.
Yeah. Oh, I've got to say, reminds me the very first fight in the UFC. Don't know if you've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, no. that was bad. Yeah. Oh, that must have been... Oh, that must have been excruciating.
He came out of that cage with one tooth.
The tooth went flying out before him. You can actually see it because that was a knockout event kind of thing where you have to fight 3 times to get to the final. And the first guy, it was a Dutch karateka against a sumo guy, and you would have thought the sumo guy, because it was bare knuckle then, and so the Dutch guy gives him a wallop, and the tooth goes flying out. I was thinking, oh yeah, this will be legalised pretty soon. Oh, that was the start. They had to do it like on an Indian reservation or something because it wasn't allowed in, and it just, that's not what we wanted to show.
No,
but
it wasn't. And I also heard that they didn't really know what they got into.
No,
so the sumo guy wasn't expecting the punches at all.
No.
And this one boxer guy, he had one boxing glove on.
Yeah, I mean,
on one hand.
What an idiot!
Yeah, so I think he thought that this was more like a wrestling thing.
Yeah,
like pro wrestling.
Exactly. They thought it was more like a wrestling, a gimmicky, freaky thing. Just the idea that they couldn't protect their hands or anything. So it was that was the Wild West. The first few, and the little guy, of course, Royce Gracie. Won it. That's where the BJ, that's where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came into the picture. But it has progressed a lot.
It is.
And but another thing, there's a lot of famous bears in the entertainment industry. You know, you've got Paddington Bear, you got the Care Bears, you know, you've got a bunch of others bears. And my favourite of all from my childhood in the UK, Rupert the Bare Knuckle Fighter. And
Baloo, as you had in the
Baloo,
first,
that's right. Yeah, good old Baloo. Should have been the top of my list.
Yeah.
Showing us the bear essentials and that. Good friend in need, indeed. He could really shake his hips and that. Showed King Louis a thing or two. Yeah, he's not that human, mate.
You've got lots of...
I learned all the you know, the Disney ones off by heart and that, so yeah. And so how do you get into the entertainment side of things? Because, you know, in the Norwegian Wrestling Federation and that, you know, it's really taken off recent years and that.
It has.
And the first time I met you, saw you, when you came walking in your sort of, if I can call them that, sort of emerald slippers and a kilt and a top hat. Yeah. And we're going to be showing some pictures in the intro so people will see.
And I had the vests also especially made.
Yeah.
I have a friend and she's really good at sewing and she has her own like embroidery machine.
Yeah.
So I got my logo on the back.
Yeah.
And just little details with...
there was a lot of details.
Yeah, it is. And you have hearts... with the names of or letters of my wife and children.
Oh,
right. And you got the fleur de lis because I like the New Orleans Saints, and American football, and all the buttons down here is the face paint of Kiss.
Oh, wow.
So
is there any room for any Abath face paints down there? No, of course not. No. Sorry, Dark Lord. Yeah, but
and what I really like about wrestling is that it can't be too much. Yeah, I can just have things and it's never too much.
Yeah, you were in the being in the very, very first Norwegian wrestling match.
Yeah,
and
I did.
Yeah,
and that was like 7 months after I trained for the first time.
Damn.
Yeah. And we got in Trondheim at the student festival there.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a wrestling ring, so it was a boxing ring, which was really hard. Because it don't have any bounce to it or any mats on it or anything. No. But it was like so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was like I've been following wrestling since the 80s.
Yeah.
With like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan and Jake the Snake and everything.
Yeah, British Bulldogs, tag team wrestlers,
and then get a chance to train and like be one of the wrestlers. It was like a dream come true, and I really love to entertain people.
Yeah,
to like command a crowd.
Yeah,
get them to chant what I want.
Yeah.
And so that's
living the dream.
Yeah, it is.
That's still why I'm still an aspiring artist.
And to when I got like 3 kids and I couldn't train wrestling anymore.
Right.
Because if you don't train wrestling, you're not just a danger to yourself, but also to your opponent.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I get a question here. Like, what could happen? Like, how could you hurt the other person if you don't train?
Yeah.
Like, few examples.
If I'm not strong enough to, like, get a guy all the way up and I drop him, he lands on his head. So you could break his neck. If you don't do things a certain way that he or she expects you to do, the communication is off, you can get hurt. Because, yes, it's predetermined, but it still hurts really bad.
Yeah. the impact
is so strong. And if someone dives like out of the ring and onto you on the floor and you don't catch them, they really hurt them. So, and if you don't catch them the right way, you will hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So I said, I can't do this anymore. I have also have some time with my kids at home.
Yeah.
But if I don't train sumo, I get crushed by the other guy.
Yeah.
I don't hurt him.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but I always say about wrestling is like, yes, the fighting is fake, but the feelings are real.
Yeah, yeah. And the narrative stuff around it, and is everyone gets into it and that.
Yeah.
But then the injuries are pretty damn close to real, you know, often.
Oh,
You know, so,
I crushed my ankle a few many years ago.
That
And it was like, so in my left ankle, I have like all this metal in there.
Yeah.
Now. But it was like 5-hour surgery. And,
so it must have been kind of to be able to participate in something that you're really passionate about. And as the ringer announcer and that must be really cool.
Yes.
And you know, the first thing I thought when I saw you walking up there and you started speaking, it was like, oh, this dude fears nothing and no one kind of thing. To be able to go up there and put yourself out, and you whipped up the crowd pretty well.
Yeah.
So I felt my adrenaline rising. So.
Yeah, and that's what I love to do, but that's also my job.
Yes.
Because when the first wrestlers come in, you have to have the audience up here already,
don't you? Yeah.
So they don't have to pick the audience up
exactly
all the way. You just have can take them just further up.
Have you been involved in the narrative as well, where you're sort of getting drawn into it? And,
sometimes, and I also have the responsibility to tell the story about the match, which is about to happen.
Exactly.
Why are these people fighting? And what are they fighting for? So the audience knows what's at stake. So that's my job to tell them about. So when I first come in, that's my time to shine.
Yes.
Then all the attention can be on me.
You took over the show, though, mate.
I'd just stand like with a power stance in the middle of the ring, and just like, here, this is where it happens now. It's like, all eyes on me. Okay, this is what's going to happen.
Exactly. You're dressed in a kilt, but with no kilt complex.
No. And I don't go traditional. I thought about it. Then I thought I'm going to be up in the ring, and there are going to be people on the first row. So I'll put on some boxers. Find some boxers with some flames on it and stuff.
Oh, that wasn't a sporran. Exactly. I've got nothing, Scottish culture and everything like that. As an English person, I really like it. I met this about 2 meter tall big Scot once, and he was going, "Oh yeah, wee laddie, I've got nothing against the English." I was like, "No, mate, me neither, mate. Nothing against the Scottish. Some of my best friends wear skirts." And it's, "Oh, you're a cheeky wee bastard, ain't ya?" Shook me about.
And the Scots are really coming into sumo now also. My good friend Scott. Scott the Scot. He's really like doing well in Scotland.
I could imagine the Scots being good at sumo wrestling or wrestling in general.
So I come into the ring, and like I said, it's my time to shine. So I have can also educate the audience a bit. You're allowed. You can't do that in like a sporting event. No, you can't like boo.
No.
Fiercely, the ones you don't like.
Sumo, you get everyone will be disqualified after 2 seconds.
So here, the audience is a part of the show. And they come up with their own chants. And I also learn them what they can chant. If they don't know what to chant, I give them my slogan. It's Tid for Deng. It's clobbering.
I remember that.
It's clobbering time. And it's
Ben Grimm vibes there.
So and then I go into like presenting the other wrestlers.
And so it's not like the reserved Norwegian type audience or crowd at all. So
I can't come out there like, welcome everyone. Nice to see you. Very demure.
That's not going to work, is it? So it's the Grizzly, but the exhibitionist side almost of the Grizzly persona really coming out. The showman Grizzly. And you really embraced that, because it was just like, I had to do a double take at least twice.
Yeah.
And it's easy getting people involved in the narrative of what's going on. Keeping the energy levels up, and a mate of mine, Kim Holm, innocently doing a bit of portraiture of, and he gets attacked viciously.
Yeah.
So, outside the ring, and I know he's a pacifist, he's a good-hearted dude, but he's had to train himself up now, so you can...
that was actually the world's first. We had a live drawing of a wrestling show.
Oh, right.
It was so much fun. It was around the ring the whole show, just drawing. And I got one of the paintings for my 50th birthday a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was
Kim's he's done loads of bands and everything and he did my band, Bastard Son of Buddha. It was the most real blood he's ever gotten on a painting. So smashing, but I'm so insecure, so I have to abuse myself. So I'm a pseudo masochist. But with the Kim thing, getting the audience involved, and so I'll tell you, the energy levels there are they're really good, and there's the funny stuff, there's the crazy stuff, there's the madcap stuff and everything, and it seems as though you've educated the audience on this in a very proficient way.
and a lot of these people in the audience have followed us since the first shows.
Really?
In the beginning of the 2000s. So they've been following us for over 20 years.
The sense of camaraderie as well. I mean, I noticed it. Even the top wrestlers, they were out helping, moving the chairs and stuff around, and it's the sense of a small group of people that are bigger now, of course, that are doing their own thing. It's like a whole bunch of outstriders in one place, which normally doesn't happen, does it? Because we're all busy outstriding in our own directions, but they've come together. And I tell you, we got to get tickets for that show by nook or by crook.
It's almost sold out now, the evening show.
Listen, I think have we gone over time, Joe?
Kinda.
Has it been a long one?
But not too long.
Oh, okay.
But I was saving something that you may not know about me.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, because
Go for it.
There's almost. I've done all my bear jokes now. That would be unbearable. Yeah. Okay.
I play in a marching band and guest instrument.
Teed for dang, cymbals, bagpipes.
I play the flute.
The flute?
Yeah.
Right.
Piccolo flute.
The piccolo flute. The tiniest instrument in the pantheon of orchestras.
And actually in 2 weeks we're having a concert, and that was one of my big dreams also. We're going to have a rock concert.
You're doing
with a
rock
marching
and roll
band.
now.
Rock and roll, and we're playing like AC/DC and Guns N' Roses, and we had a singer of called Roy Khan from Camelot. He's coming to sing some of his songs with us. And it's going to be so much fun.
So you're going to be marching around, and but the whole orchestra. So
the whole orchestra,
Who's if the guy on the triangle gets sick, just give me a call, mate. It's about the limit of my musicality, unless you want a vocalist. No. But that's so. Where is that? For people.
It is Sagene Festivitetes, same place we're having the wrestling show this weekend.
Yes.
I'm going back for the marching band concert the next weekend. So, and also doing wrestling is like. For so many years was like thing I did away from my family.
Yeah.
But now my family has gotten involved, so one of the referees is actually my son.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's a family affair.
Family affair now.
Yeah. So, but it really helps to be doing lots of any artist today, or even sports personality, whatever. You got to have more legs and shoes than the human centipede, don't you? So you've got to be all over the place.
What I try to also build my business on is like, okay, I'm a public speaker and bring awareness about bullying and such, but I'm also like you can hire me to be the most awesome announcer in all of Norway.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. You'd be a great auctioneer as well, wouldn't you?
Something to think about,
Yeah. So, if you're out there in conceptual...
Raise your bid or else.
Right. Yeah. What do you mean, $20? Get a grip. It's worth more money than you make in a year, mate. So Anders, and so you got your gig coming up.
Yeah,
you got your gig on Saturday.
Yes,
as the announcer with so much power, the Grizzly power.
The Grizzly power.
Just want to have a quick thing in. You know the nastiest bear in history, the short-faced bear. Its Latin name is Arctotus simus. And it's the only thing short about it is its face. It's died out now, but it kept humanity away from North America for thousands and thousands of years. It had really long legs, and it could chase down horses. And it was taller than anything, 1/3 bigger than Ursus Martitinus and that. And so if anyone's looking for a bear out there, they might be extinct, but they were huge. And if you want to overdo it, then Arctotus simus is available. But I just got to say, from Outstriders Podcast to you, Mr Ursus Arctus Horribilis, thank you so much for coming to our episode. We've learned a lot and been inspired a lot today.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And see you on Saturday.
See you
there.